Hi, so today I'm going to respond to a question someone has asked me in the comment section of one of my video, which is that how are the quantitative finance models different from the machine learning models that C has learned as part of his data science course, right? Well, to begin with, there are many models in quantitative finance which are not taught as part of your data science certification programs. Even in your master's program, right, which are 2 year programs in data science, you don't learn a lot of the domain specific quantitative finance models. They are very quantitative in nature. They're statistical. There can be statistical models, but more mathematical models. That which is to say that models that use a lot of data, but models that may not use too much of data, but more assumption based models. So you don't learn a lot of these when you do a data science course. Data science is more a generic course that teaches you a lot of machine learning stuff, but not so much about some of the more domain specific models. But if you really want to learn these quant finance models, specific models, well, there is an overlap, by the way, right? A lot of the models that you might have learned as part of data science, for instance, regression based models, classification models, optimization models, are very much used in quantitative finance. Having said that, you also have to learn some of the more domain specific models related to the field of finance, and not so much used. These models are not so much used in other fields, except maybe in insurance, but insurance is also part of finance. But you'll certainly not find uses of these models in e-commerce or in manufacturing sector, in any other sector, right? So what are these models? I'm going to talk about some of these models. For example, might have heard about Black-Scholes models for option pricing. You don't learn this model in data science programs. You don't learn capital asset pricing model, which is corporate finance model. You don't learn much of simulation exactly. Some data science programs do teach simulations, Monte Carlo simulations, but quantitative finance programs do teach Monte Carlo simulations. You don't learn about Vasicek models, for example, for interest rate modeling. You don't learn the arch guards model, which are time series models heavily used in quantitative finance. You learn some time series forecasting models, such as the LSTM model, but you don't learn much about ARIMA model, arch guards model in many data science programs. You don't learn about value at risk model, which is a very famous model in market risk. Black Litterman model for portfolio optimization, and you don't learn a lot of the industry specific models used for credit risk development. There you use obviously regression types model, but the way you build these models very different from how you build in other industries, right? It's quite very domain specific. Building a scorecard itself is a very it's a course in itself, and that really requires certain a lot of the domain specific concepts to be learned. You don't learn Merton models, for example, in credit risk as part of your data science course. So these are some of the uh, quantitative finance models that you do not learn if you do a data science course. You really have to do a quantitative finance course in order to learn these models, right? Um, there are other models also. For example, you have um, Markov chain Monte Carlo, or any other Markov models for option pricing. Also, beside Black-Scholes, you can use the binomial models or the Heston models. You don't learn much about copulas, very popular in the field of quantitative finance, but not so much in other fields. Hall white models, you have diffusion models, jump diffusion models, pharma French models. So these are very domain specific models. Probably you haven't heard about, unless you have done some courses in quant finance, probably haven't heard about them. But you don't have to learn all of them, obviously, but you need to learn some of them in order to work in the field of finance. Right. Having said that, I let me also reiterate that machine learning models are also quite useful nowadays in the field of finance, especially if you work in the buy side. People use more simple machine learning, rather decision tree, linear regression, logistic regression, not so much as neural network, that set of model, but there is a lot of uses of that. Machine learning models are also quite useful in in compliance, fraud areas, in finance, certainly in credit risk as well. But in pricing of the model, financial assets, in assessing risk related to market movements, forecasting macroeconomic variables. In these areas, machine learning is not so much used. Actually, you need to learn more domain specific quantitative finance models, right? All right, if you are interested to learn some of these models, and if you want to start a career in data in quantitative finance, you want to become a credit risk developer, market risk developer, a validator in any of these areas, you want to work in private funds, for investment trading purposes as a quant, if you want to work as a risk manager, you want to work as in the stress testing area, or in the more upcoming modeling areas such as climate risk model development, right, in any of these areas, right, I do have a course. I've announced that a couple of times on this channel. If you really want to learn, please let me know. You can find the contact details in the description section of this channel. You can always reach out to me if you really are keen on learning these domain specific quant finance models. The course covers machine learning models as well, but beside that, you will also find some of the models that I talked about here. And if you want to learn them, and you're always welcome. But you can also learn on your own. Okay, that's not. I mean, that's the difficult way, but that's also an option. By the way, many people do learn on their own without taking help from anyone. But good to take help from someone. Good to learn in a more organized way, in a structured way. And if someone has curated a course, I think that really helps, right? Otherwise, you'll be. I mean, some smart people can do learn on their own also. Right? You don't have to always pay for it. But yeah, it's also useful sometimes to get some guidance from someone. Right, let me know, and see you in another video. Thanks as always.